We're focusing on your wedges, and you've told us that your main issue is strike related, and more specifically, you're tending to hit top shots. So the bottom of the club face is coming into contact with the top half of the golf ball. Now this clearly means that your club head is simply too high at impact, but there are two main reasons why this happens. The simplest is that the bottom of your swing is just too high up above the turf. If we can lower your swing to the point where the bottom of the club makes contact with the turf, you can get the ball up on the club face. And this can be done simply through intention, instead of looking for a technical reason why it's happening. What we mean by that is, if you take a setup and have a practice swing making sure you miss the turf, simply by intending to get the club head lower and make contact with the turf, you can do this on your very next swing. Now, you may miss the turf a couple of times if you're not used to this, but if you keep intending to get the club lower and lower, at some point you will hit the ground. Now, as long as you're hitting the ground from the ball forward, we've found the solution. The solution is your main focus is getting the club down lower so that it makes contact with the ground after the ball. On the other hand, what you may find is that when you try to get the club lower and you do start to make contact with the ground, you may be contacting the ground behind the ball. And this means that even when the club gets low enough, it's going to hit the ground first and then move up towards the top of the ball, which of course is going to be too high. So the club is rising for too long to make good contact. In this case, apart from just getting the club lower, we need to move the bottom of the swing forward to where the ball is, or ideally just after it. And that would be done through a bit of body motion, which would be making sure you can get onto your front foot and not lean back onto your back foot. And secondly would be the delaying of the release. So during the backswing, you will add hinge to the wrists, and during the downswing, you will unhinge the wrists. But if you unhinge the wrists too early, you'll make contact with the ground. If you can delay the unhinging of the wrists long enough to get your hands ahead of the ball, you'll find that you hit the ground after the ball, which means you'll strike the ball well. So this is either going to be a case of trying to get the club lower so that it makes contact with the ground, or it's going to be a case of getting the club head lower so that it makes contact in the ground, but with some movement towards the target so that you hit the ground but after the ball. Depending on which one you need, set up for a practice swing, use the swing length appropriate for the shot you're trying to hit, and make sure the feedback is the club's interaction with the ground. Make sure the club is brushing the grass ahead of the ball. When you step to the golf ball, if you don't repeat this and you strike it poorly, it means that you're not taking a successful swing thought to the shot. So for example, you're setting up thinking about getting the club to brush the grass after the ball, and then when you move forward to the ball, you're thinking about the height of the shot or how far it has to go, as opposed to the strike. If you have a swing thought that successfully gets you to hit the ground ahead of the ball, then you need to step forward to the golf shot and think the same thing. So the focus is the interaction of the club with the ground as opposed to how the club is going to hit the shot. So again, take your setup, focus on the club, hitting the grass, and then hit the shot.